Oh, how can I be this tired? I've done nothing today. Hi there and welcome back to Planet Property. Today I thought I'd talk to you about my working from home during lockdown experience and the ways I've tried to combat any bad feelings about that. I'm going to be completely honest, I've really struggled working from home to just go from one day my life being moving a million miles an hour to the next day, sitting in one room all day, every day, has been very difficult for me. But I found a few things that I can do along the way that make things a bit more manageable. And when I don't do these things, I really notice the difference in my work and my mood. So I just thought I'd share some of these tips with you. Tip number one, exercise. I cannot emphasize this enough. Before lockdown, and before this whole thing kicked off, I was a very active person. I'd go to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. I would walk roughly 12 to 15,000 steps a day. I was very active. I stretched every night before bed. Just, yeah, very active person. And that's not training for anything specific. I just love the feeling that it gives me, and I know what it does to my body, and it's so good for me. So good for my work, so good for my mental health, so good for my relationships with other people, because I take a lot of my stress and anger out at the gym. So me getting angry and putting that all into a spin class or a weight session means I don't yell at my boyfriend as much, so he likes that as well. Obviously lockdown makes things a little bit more difficult. I have always been a gym bunny. I love weight training. I love lifting heavy weights. I love the feeling of power and strength it gives me. And in the UK, we've been allowed back in the gym a little bit. We were allowed back in over the summer and the autumn period. And then it closed in November for lockdown number 2. And then it opened again a little bit in December. And now we're riding this out until the end, I think. So no gyms. I'm very lucky. I've got a set of dumbbells here, and they're the kind which have multiple plates that you wind up and screw on. I have some yoga mats. I have a bike, which I'm very lucky. My sister-in-law gave it to me when she bought herself a Peloton. So thank you, Marita, for having such expensive tastes and wanting to buy a ridiculous bike so that I can have your old one. And I've got a resistance band and foam roller. So I've got some very basic gym equipment. My partner is a runner. He does marathons and ultra marathons. So for the entire time we've been going out, he's been trying to get me into running, and it has literally taken the gyms being shut for me to get into it. But I've started running now, and particularly in the winter, I find it's quite good for me because it's a reason to get out in the day, because it's not as nice to run at night. Again, I feel very lucky where I live. I feel safe running at night. When I lived in London, I would not. I lived in some nice places in London and I still would not have run at night around there. But in Brighton, it feels very safe to run along the beach at night. It's very lit, it's very open, there's a lot of people. So yes, that's a very lucky thing that I get to say. But I do try and run at least once in the weekend and once at lunchtime during the week, so I can get out and get some sun on my skin and get some miles under my belt, and it's a way to explore an area as well. Number 2 is eating well. Now this, again, along with exercise, I think the two sit hand in hand. If you're moving your body, you need to fuel your body in a way that benefits its movement. If you're a runner, or a better runner than me, you already know what you need to put into your body, but carbohydrates are not the enemy. Carbohydrates are life. They give you energy, they give you everything you need to keep going that little bit further, do that extra kilometre, lift that little bit heavier. Oh my god, that plant grew like overnight. Good for you, plant. Green vegetables are life. Green vegetables give you so much nutrients, so many nutrients, so much goodness. They're just all hail broccoli and spinach and green beans and everything. It's all so good for you. But I'm not an expert. There are so many people better than me on the internet that do this. Just, you know what feels good for you. And if you want to have pizza on a Friday night, I'm not going to stop you, because pizza on a Friday night is bloody beautiful, and after the end of a hard week, you deserve it. But You also know that if you had a Domino's on a Tuesday plus 3 glasses of wine, you're going to wake up on a Wednesday morning feeling groggy and a bit, oh, I don't want to work today. I'm working from home. I can get away with doing the bare minimum. Is that going to make you feel good ultimately? Nah. So eating good during working time, exercising, it all sort of fits in together, but just keeping your body in the best and happiest place that it can be at the moment, and moving, just general moving. I know it's so hard. There are days where I don't even hit 1,000 steps because sometimes you just can't go out for a big walk at lunch, and by the time you finish work it's raining and cold and you just want to have your tea and you want to watch a bit of Netflix or do whatever you want to do. That's fine, just don't let that be every day. Get out, move. The human body is not meant to be sat down all day. Go for a walk around. And yeah, I know, I hate it too. I feel really lucky. I live right by the sea and it's so beautiful. It's a dream of mine. I've always wanted to live by the sea. I'm getting really sick of the same walking route, but what can we do? I think everyone's just got to sort of focus on this isn't for that much longer. Hopefully the days are already getting a little bit longer. We're getting a little bit more time of daylight before and after work, so it's not long until it's going to be light after work and things get so much better. Number 3, and this is one that's a bit funny, but having something in your diary each week that is a marker. Now for me, that's the Friday night trip to Aldi. My boyfriend and I, we do our weekly shop on a Friday night at Aldi, and every single Friday night, without fail, when we park up in the car park, I go, oh my God, how is it Friday again already? We're back at Aldi, we're picking out our pizza that we're gonna have for our treat tea tonight. And it's just such a signifier of the passing of time for me. And again, it just shows we've done one more week of this. We're getting that bit closer. And this week when we went, what time did we go? It was 6:15. Oh no, it was still a bit dark. But in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully there might still be that little tinge of light on the horizon when we go. And that's what I'm hanging on for at the moment. But having that weekly trip to Aldi on a Friday night as a signifier of the passing of time and something in the week is... it's weird how much of a difference it makes to me. Number 4, I'm teaching you to suck eggs here. Everyone's going to have told you this, but keep in touch with people. Talk to your family. My mum lives on her own and she works in a college, so for a lot of this she has been able to go in, and she is still going in 1 day a week fortunately, but most of the time she's just sat at home on her own. So I'm making such a conscious effort to speak to her regularly. Me and my brothers were speaking to her. One of us is ringing her every day. Human beings are not meant to be alone. We are social creatures. Look at The Sims. Think about this. If you ever played The Sims as a child, think about what your Sims needs were. So there was hunger, sleep, hygiene. No, happiness was just a general overall. But anyway, one of them was how much are they communicating with other Sims. If they haven't spoken to another Sim for ages, then their mood goes right down. We are the same. We are Sims. We are real life Sims just walking around, not quite speaking Simish and hopefully not going into pools and then God's removing the ladder or something. But we are human beings, and I've been saying throughout this whole thing, when I've had a bit of a dark moment or a sad time where I'm just feeling a bit lonely, I go, there's a reason that solitary confinement is the worst thing that you can do to a prisoner. It is just, human beings are not meant to be on their own. So, and I know that speaking to someone over the phone or on FaceTime is not the same as speaking to them in person, and those social interactions are what we're all missing so much and longing for. But at the moment we have to settle for the next best thing, and again it's just knowing that one day we will do it. I mean, I'm dying to meet my niece. She was born on the 1st of November and I've only seen her over the phone, even though she only lives in London, and I cannot wait for the day this is all over and I can hold her and give her a cuddle. But for now, FaceTime has to do, because what's the point in sulking going, oh, I can't meet her, because at least I do get to see her face on FaceTime and she knows me and recognises me and makes the cutest little... I could go off forever talking about how amazing and wonderful she is. She's just so cute. Number 5, be honest with yourself about how you're feeling and honest with those closest around you. I think it's really important to recognise privilege at this moment in time. I'm aware that I'm incredibly lucky in my situation. My boyfriend and I, we have a house to ourselves. We don't have to share with anyone. We live in a really lovely part of the UK. We live in Brighton. We live close to the sea, so we have access to swimming and surfing, and we can go on lovely running routes close by. We're close to the Downs, although is it within the distance that we're allowed to travel for exercise? You tell me, Boris. Is the Olympic Park within distance? We live in a really, really lovely place, and we do have friends that live close by that we can go for socially distanced walks with. Both of us have secure jobs and we have secure income. We're not going to be furloughed and we're not going to be made redundant. And we have access to home exercise equipment, and we have money to pay for good food, and we will keep a roof over our heads. So we are aware that we're incredibly lucky, but that doesn't invalidate my feelings when I am feeling lonely or sad or missing my former life, because, at risk of quoting the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, my life got flipped and turned upside down in the space of a day. I went from being up at 5:30 in the morning to going to bed about 10:30 at night, and constantly hustling in that time. Gym, work, after work activities, APC. I am the captain of my lacrosse team, meeting friends, networking, doing this, bam, 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 always on the go, doing this kind of stuff, to being in a room all day, every day. My partner's a doctor, so he goes out to work, and I found it very, very lonely and very difficult to deal with that transition of my life from a very important person, or what I perceive to be a very important person, swanning about the city in my power suits and all this kind of thing, to just another one of the millions sitting in my spare bedroom working from home while my boyfriend is literally saving lives. His life hasn't really changed that much, and mine just went from being up here feeling like I own the world to being down here and just looking at my colleagues in squares on my laptop. So yeah, I think it's really, really important to recognise your privilege and see what you can do with your privilege to help other people. So for example, we've had the virus already. We had COVID back in March 2020 when it first all kicked off, because my boyfriend works in the hospital. So I had a positive antibody test, which means that I can donate plasma to help people who are currently fighting the virus in the hospital. So if there's anyone who's either had the vaccine, actually I'm not sure if the vaccine counts, no, I don't know, check the NHS website, but if anyone's had a positive test or positive antibody test, you are eligible for donating plasma, which can help the people who are stuck in ICU right now, and help the NHS to just help these people get better and get them out of the hospital, because that's the problem at the moment, is the hospital's just way too full. Yes, I went off on a tangent. Recognise your privilege, but also recognise your feelings and be honest with yourself, and don't beat yourself up for feeling crappy, because this is a terrible time, and it, for risk of using the word of the year last year, this is unprecedented. You know, our grandparents may have fought in a horrific war, but this is different. This isn't a war. It's something that we've never had to face before. We've never had to understand. So taking time to work out how that feels and what that means to you is perfectly valid and perfectly okay. And this refers back to point 4. Speak to the people in your life that are closest to you. Speak to your parents, speak to your partner, your best friends, your brothers, because I almost guarantee they are all feeling the same as you. And it's such a well-known phrase for a reason. A problem shared is a problem halved. Gosh, that got a bit deep and rambly at the end there. But thank you for listening, and I hope that this has helped someone. I know by this stage in all of this, you've probably heard all of these tips a million times before, but it genuinely does really help. If not make you feel like you're on top of the world and 100% every day, just know that doing these things is better than not doing them. The outcomes of not doing them are, yeah, it's not as good, and we've just got to keep surviving, keep getting through every single day, because it will get better, and it will get better soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.